speaking of moments, you've been, as you mentioned, your career with the Fever. First six, though, were tough, obviously. They weren't as easy.
For months, the narrative around the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark has been written by everyone except the people who actually live it. The media, the pundits, the former players with axes to grind. They've all had their say. But the one voice that mattered, the voice that has bled for this franchise through its absolute darkest days, had remained quiet until now. What Kelsey Mitchell just did wasn't just give an interview. She dropped a truth bomb so powerful, so raw, and so authentically real that it didn't just validate Caitlin Clark's impact. It completely redefined the soul of this Indiana Fever team. She said the quiet part out loud. And in doing so, exposed the single biggest problem the rest of the WNBA is now forced to confront. If you want to understand what's really happening in Indiana and why this feels so different from any other super team, you need to hear this. And by the way, if you're invested in this new era of basketball, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel because we're breaking it all down.
What's been the big turnaround? How have you viewed...
You bring in Caitlin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you grow to appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever, and you have to respect that. And I love the teammate and person in her because she's accepted it with so much grace and even welcomed us with open arms to, make this thing happen. So I think it just took a lot of big pieces to make.
To truly grasp the sheer weight of what Kelsey Mitchell just said, you first have to understand who she is. She isn't just a player on the roster. She is the franchise's survivor, the living archive of its most painful history. For years, Kelsey Mitchell was a lone flickering flame in a cavern of total darkness, a superstar talent condemned to basketball purgatory. She was the one dragging the Indiana Fever through seasons so bleak they were practically unwatchable, where victory was a distant rumor and defeat was a brutal, nightly certainty. Think about this. This is the same Mitchell who somehow carried a roster that won just 5 games in an entire season. Imagine the psychological toll of that. Night after night, lacing up your shoes knowing that no matter how hard you fought, how many points you scored, the outcome was almost preordained. The same Mitchell who endured a revolving door of coaches, a carousel of failed strategies and constant front office instability. She played under 5 different coaches in her first 8 years, a statistic that screams dysfunction. And perhaps most damaging of all was the utter indifference of a league that often treated games against Indiana as a casual night off, a chance for opposing stars to rest and for role players to pad their stats. She was the one who had to shoulder the losses, face the press after yet another soul-crushing 25-point blowout, and deliver polite, hopeful clichés while the foundation was crumbling around her. That was her brutal, unglamorous reality.
The world in so many ways. If you've done it with so much grace. And I'm so happy to take the floor with you, to be a part of this experience. And I want to tell you to give yourself some grace, kid. You've done a lot of things that not a lot of people can do. And from me to you, I'm always going to be a fan. I'm always going to be in your corner. I'm always going to be in your back.
She wasn't just playing basketball. She was pushing a boulder uphill, night after lonely night, year after painful year. Her prime years slipping away in a blur of losses and empty arenas. This context is everything. It's the fire that forged her perspective. When a player who has endured that level of futility, who has stared into the abyss of professional relevance and never quit, finally speaks about a turnaround. Her words aren't just comments. They are lessons carved from hardship, validated by sacrifice. She has earned the right to be heard, not as just another voice in the chorus, but as the sole witness to both the rock bottom and the miraculous rise. Her endorsement carries the weight of truth that only suffering can provide, making her praise for the new era infinitely more valuable than any cheer from the sidelines. And in the modern WNBA, any conversation about the Indiana Fever, no matter how it starts, always gets pulled into one inevitable gravitational force.
Like, you've been with Indiana through the thick and thin. You've been with them since, like we was talking, like we about to go get our rhythm on Indiana. You've been there, you stuck through until now being in the semifinals. What does that feel like? And for people watching, like girls, boys, if they athletes, not athletes, what does it feel like to stick through something and now see it coming to?
The Clark question. It doesn't matter if a player is discussing their defensive scheme, their pregame meal, or the weather. The orbit always leads back to Caitlin Clark. It has become the unavoidable center of the Indiana basketball universe, a phenomenon so powerful it distorts all other narratives. For months, players have navigated this with polished, PR-friendly answers, walking a tightrope of diplomacy. She's great for the team. She draws a lot of attention. They say the safe, rehearsed script designed to avoid controversy and placate the media scrum. It's a survival mechanism, a way to acknowledge the elephant in the room without having to describe its every feature. But when that question was finally posed to Kelsey Mitchell, the veteran, the cornerstone, the one who had fought through the irrelevance and earned her stripes in blood, sweat, and losses, she didn't give the safe answer. She threw the script away. She gave the real one, the answer that had been simmering for a season, born from observation and respect. She looked directly into the camera and delivered a line that should be etched into the franchise's history books.
What's been the big turnaround? How have you viewed the way the team has grown organically?
Oh, man, I think a big shout out to the organization taking time to rebuild. I think our draft picks ended up coming big. Lexi Hall was a big draft pick, and then you get Kaylin, and then you get AB. And so you culminate that together with, my experience and having to, go through a couple things before they got there. I think it was just like a match made in heaven, really, because I was, still at a young age to really, vibe and get to know these players for who they were. And then you bring in Kaylin, who changed the world, changed the dynamic of basketball. And as a friend and as a player, you grow to appreciate her because, certain doors have opened because she's come to the Fever. And
Her exact words were this: Caitlin Clark has, and I quote, changed the world, change the dynamic of basketball. Let that just sink in for a moment. That is not a casual compliment. That is a seismic declaration from the one person who could have, by all rights, been the most bitter about the whole situation. Mitchell could have viewed Clark as the person who erased her years of struggle from the public memory. Instead, she recognized her as a key that unlocked the door she'd been pushing against for her entire career. This wasn't just a player assessing a teammate. It was a historian acknowledging a revolutionary, a testament to an impact so vast it transcends the court and enters the realm of culture. And that leads us to the most powerful, the most refreshing part of this entire story: the complete and utter absence of jealousy. This is where the Indiana Fever's story diverges from so many others in sports history. Listen to Mitchell's tone in that interview. There is no bitterness, no passive aggression, not even a hint of resentment that a rookie had suddenly become the sun around which the entire franchise now revolved. There's only pure, genuine, unadulterated respect, the kind that can't be faked for cameras. This is what makes Kelsey Mitchell's words so incredibly rare in today's sports landscape, where ego is often the largest contract on the books. She didn't diminish herself in the process, either. This wasn't surrender. It was a balancing act of epic proportions, a masterclass in secure leadership.
You were an MVP finalist this year with our own Chiney Ogwumike even saying that you had the best season of any guard this year in the league. What has it been like to get that kind of recognition and get your flowers?
Oh, I appreciate it. I've been to a lot throughout the course of my career with Indiana Fever. It's been like my longest, ever. So it's for me, it's a humbling experience to kind of see myself make waves from where it started to where it is now. And just kind of respect the game, lean on the game as far as creating bonds and friendships. And now you get to see us do that now, a couple years later.
She subtly but firmly reminded everyone that before the storm of Caitlin Clark, she was the one keeping the lights on. She was a generator, humming away in the basement, preventing the entire building from shutting down for good and being forgotten. She painstakingly laid the foundation, brick by painful brick, so that a talent like Clark would even have a stable platform to stand on when she arrived. Mitchell is the reason the Fever didn't collapse into total irrelevance. And now, her unwavering loyalty is finally paying off in ways she probably never dared to dream. Her statement was genius because it wasn't about taking sides. It was about reminding everyone that true leadership doesn't fear generational talent. It doesn't see a threat. It sees a force multiplier. It welcomes it. It builds with it. Mitchell understands that Clark's rise doesn't bury her legacy. It finally gives it a stage worthy of its performance. In a league where pettiness often makes headlines, Mitchell's maturity is a shocking and ultimately more compelling narrative. But Mitchell's endorsement went far beyond the professional. It got deeply, powerfully personal.
The teammate and person in her, because she's accepted it with so much grace and even welcomed us with open arms to, make this thing happen. So I think it just took a lot of big pieces to make, what it is now.
What has it been like? Because certainly the world has been focused on her. But what has it been like as a teammate? Because sometimes people are stepping to her, but I feel like you guys are stepping right back in those situations.
I think it's just it's competitive nature, man. You know how it goes. It's just competitive nature. I think that We want to fight to, love on our team and be who we are and respect the game at the same time. So I think it's a lot of just competitive nature at the end of it.
She didn't just call Caitlin Clark a teammate. She called her a friend. In the cutthroat world of professional sports, where massive egos and contract disputes can poison a locker room in an instant, that one word, friend, matters more than any statistic. It's a clear signal that Clark's integration into this team has been seamless, even healing. According to Mitchell, Clark didn't just arrive to be the star. She arrived to be a part of the fabric, to create an environment where everyone else could truly thrive in her orbit, to share the burden rather than hoard the glory. This distinction is critical. We've all seen super teams in other leagues implode under the weight of their own hype. Too many stars, not enough cohesion, with chemistry that feels forced and transactional. But Clark has brilliantly avoided that trap. She doesn't act like the only star in the sky. She acts like the sun, radiating energy and allowing everyone else's game to shine brighter, their personalities to emerge more fully. And Kelsey Mitchell's career is living proof of this ecosystem working perfection.
Oh man, it's unbelievable experience. It's a moment that I don't want to, take for granted. I want to cherish it as much as I possibly can. Like I said, I want to use this moment to as a moment to not grow. And so hopefully the mental preparation that I've been through and the things I've been through can kind of help me get through these moments. And then just, loving basketball for what it is and just, loving the game.
Her profile has exploded since Clark's arrival. She's playing efficient, clutch basketball on the biggest stages of her life and finally getting the national recognition she always deserved, but was so rarely given because her team was never in the spotlight. Without Clark, Mitchell might have remained the WNBA's best-kept secret, a legendary scorer trapped in a team nobody watched. With her, the entire world is watching, and they're seeing Kelsey Mitchell for the superstar she always was. And Mitchell doesn't just accept that. She profoundly, deeply respects it because she knows that real legacy isn't about being the only name on the marquee, but about being an indispensable part of a story people will never forget.
I saw Caitlin posted she was fined $200 by the league for stepping on the court. So was there a locker room pool for her there, or did she take care of that herself?
Man. I'm pretty sure somebody took care of it for her. I love it because as much people don't know this about Caitlin, but she has an unbelievable funny sense of humor. And so I think the tweet was the tweet, but you just have to know CC to know that it's just nothing but love coming from that kid, and her energy and her effort to just kind of support our team is just.
Now, if you want a single story that illustrates this bond, look no further than the incident with the now famous fine. You remember it. Caitlin Clark jokingly tweeted about being fined by the league, a lighthearted jab that immediately sent the sports commentariat into a total meltdown. Pundits and talking heads, desperate for content, twisted it into a sign of arrogance, a lack of humility. Critics called it classless, an act of ingratitude from a player who didn't understand professional decorum of the league. They framed it as a rookie who didn't understand her place, using it as evidence to support their predetermined narratives about her character. But behind closed doors, within the sanctity of the Fever's locker room, the only place where opinions truly matter, the reaction was a polar opposite. According to Kelsey Mitchell, the players laughed. They loved it. They saw it for what it was, a human moment. Mitchell revealed that the tweet actually showcased a side of Clark the public rarely gets to see, buried under pressure in headlines. Her unbelievable, sharp, and self-deprecating sense of humor. That single anecdote draws a definitive line between public perception and private reality, a chasm as wide as the Grand Canyon. Outsiders saw a manufactured controversy, another log on the fire of the endless Clark debate. Teammates saw a genuine character, a young woman able to laugh at herself and the absurdity of her situation, thereby making the entire team more relaxed. Mitchell's takeaway was simple and powerful. Relax, it's just Caitlin being Caitlin. And that right there is a telltale sign of a truly healthy, unbreakable team culture. If Clark were secretly resented, if there was any friction or jealousy, that tweet would have been gasoline on a fire, discussed in hushed, critical tones. Instead, it became just another inside joke, another thread in the fabric of a team that genuinely enjoys each other's company, a group that connects on a level far deeper than basketball. Which brings us to the most intimidating revelation for every other team in the league. This isn't just a two-person show. This is emergence of legitimate Fab Four, a core so perfectly balanced and synergized it seems designed in a basketball laboratory. Kelsey Mitchell, the lethal scorer and heart of the franchise, whose journey embodies the team spirit. Caitlin Clark, the generational passer and cultural tsunami, whose vision expands the possibilities of the entire offense. Aaliyah Boston, The dominant force in the paint, a defensive anchor and efficient scorer who cleans up everything around the rim. And Lexi Hull, the gritty, relentless defender, the glue player who does the dirty work and embodies the selflessness required to win championships. Together, they aren't just a playoff team. They are the blueprint for a modern dynasty, with each piece covering for the other's weaknesses and amplifying their strengths. And the most telling part? Mitchell didn't just praise her teammates with empty words. She hinted at a level of commitment that is almost revolutionary in today's game. She subtly suggested she'd be willing to take a pay cut to sacrifice personally on the financial ledger if it meant keeping this core group intact. In an era where getting the bag is the unspoken rule, that kind of declaration is staggering. It signals that Mitchell sees the bigger picture with crystal clarity. She understands that what's being built in Indiana isn't just for a season or a brief window of contention. It's for a decade. It's a legacy project. She'll personally invest in it to make it last, because she understands that the value of championships and legendary status far outweighs the short-term gain of a slightly larger contract. Why? Because she has seen the other side. She knows what rock bottom feels like, the empty seats, the quiet flights home, the ignored press clippings. And now, she can see the summit from here, and she's willing to do whatever it takes to plant her flag on top together with her friends. While the Indiana Fever are building a formidable internal culture, creating a stark contrast with the external noise, it's crucial to examine what that noise really is. Is it truly a league office failing to act, or is it a narrative that overlooks massive, structural changes? The evidence points to the latter. Contrary to perception of a slow-moving league, WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has been publicly and aggressively steering the league to capitalize on this generational surge in interest, stating that their phones are ringing off the hook with opportunities from broadcasters and corporate partners. The league's strategy is not based on fleeting moments, but on building a sustainable economic model. The centerpiece of this plan is the upcoming media rights deal, which Engelbert hopes will at least double the current rights fees. She has explicitly stated that this new revenue is the key to funding the very things players are asking for, like higher pay and permanent charter flights, a service the league already invested over $20 million in for the 2025 season. This isn't a passive operation. It's an active transformation aiming to set this league up for the next 30 years. The growth metrics are staggering and undeniable, moving far beyond individual rivalries. The league is experiencing a commercial boom that validates the Fever's internal synergy. So, when you hear talk of a divided league, consider this. The Fever success story isn't happening in a vacuum. It's the on-court embodiment of the same growth the league is chasing off-court. The unified front Kelsey Mitchell champions in Indiana is precisely the kind of foundation the league needs to support its ambitious expansion. The Fever aren't just terrifying opponents with their play. They are proving the viability of the WNBA's entire business strategy. By building something real and sustainable, they are not just rewriting the team's history. They are helping to validate the league's future for every team that will follow. The bottom line is this. Kelsey Mitchell didn't just endorse Caitlin Clark. She embraced her. She validated her from a position of undeniable strength and hardship, a perspective that no analyst, no former player, and no fan can ever truly claim. And she vowed to build a legacy alongside her. That's not just professional respect. That's a powerful alliance, a pact forged in the fires of past failure and a shared, burning vision for future glory. It's the kind of partnership that wins championships because it's built on something more stable than talent alone. It's built on genuine trust and a mutual understanding of sacrifice. In doing so, she has given the WNBA the kind of authentic, positive narrative it has been desperately searching for amidst a cacophony of hot takes and manufactured drama. This is a story that transcends sports, the veteran who held the line and the phenom who brought the cavalry, joining forces not as rivals, but as architects of a new kingdom. So the next time you watch the Indiana Fever, don't just watch for the deep threes and the no-look passes. Look closer. Watch the interaction between Mitchell and Clark on the bench after a turnover. The quick word, the nod of understanding, the shared laugh that dissolves frustration. Watch the way they communicate on the court in a critical moment, not with frantic yelling, but with a knowing glance that speaks volumes. You are witnessing the foundation of something far bigger than a basketball team. You are witnessing the birth of a cultural reset, a blueprint for how modern dynasties are built not on jealousy or transactional relationships, but on friendship and a shared, unshakable conviction that the sum is far greater than its individual parts. This is what makes them so dangerous and so compelling. They aren't just playing for stats or even for wins. They are playing for each other and for a city that has waited a long, long time for a reason to believe. This is why their journey matters, regardless of which team you support. It's a masterclass in leadership, humility, and the power of embracing change. Kelsey Mitchell could have chosen resentment, and no one would have blamed her. Instead, she chose legacy. Caitlin Clark could have succumbed to the immense pressure and isolated herself as a singular star. Instead, she chose community. Together, they are proving that the most powerful force in sports isn't a single superstar, but the invisible thread of respect that connects a team. This is a lesson every franchise in every league should be studying. The Indiana Fever are no longer just a team to watch. They are a case study in how to build a winner from the inside out. What do you think? Is the Mitchell-Clark partnership the undeniable key to unlocking a Fever championship? Or is there another factor that you believe will be the deciding factor in their quest for a title? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. And if you want more deep dives into the stories and relationships that are fundamentally changing the world of sports, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching.